All right, y'all. Tankless heater versus tank style water heater. Pros and cons. Which one's better? Long and short of it, I'm going to give you the pros and cons right at the front, so you don't have to watch this fucking video if you don't want to. And then I'll explain it at the end of the video. So the pros of the tankless water heater: never run out of hot water if it's installed properly. It can last, up to 30 years if it's well taken care of. It's much more energy efficient than a tank style water heater, so there's a lot of pros. The cons of the tankless water heater are its install cost is often 4 times higher or greater than a tank style heater. Repair costs are significantly higher than tank style heaters. It can be hard to find qualified repair people for tankless water heaters. And the maintenance cost for them is insane. Like, if you're not gonna do the work yourself and you're gonna hire out all the maintenance, it's going to be very expensive over the life of that heater. So tank style water heaters, like not the tankless, but tank style traditional water heaters, the pros are significantly lower install cost, lower and easier maintenance demand, like compatibility between brands. Like a lot of the times, like, an element that works in one water heater will work in another, or, there's a lot of, it's easy to get parts for it, and it's easier to find guys that can work on them. And it's kind of a set it and forget it for most people. Most people don't flush their tank style water heaters, and if you don't fuck with it at all, it'll still give you usually like 10 years of worry-free functionality. The cons of the tank style water heater are that it is less efficient. It does cost more gas or electricity to run. It can be more hazardous in some ways. The tankless heater can be pretty hazardous if it leaks too. The worst flood I've ever seen from a heater is a tankless heater. But a lot of times your failure on a you get a lot of floods from tank style heaters. So a lot of times they're in the attic, and if that fucker leaks, it can really fuck some shit up. They do have a shorter lifespan typically. Like a lot of times I think about 10 years is what you get, although you can get it up to 20 if you change your fucking anode rod and flush it out, and take care of it. You can get it to last easy 20 years. So those are the cons. And to get a little more in depth to this, the reason I'm making this video is, I'm a plumber. I see a lot of plumbing content on YouTube. And a lot of the tankless water heater videos are from kind of slick dudes who make commissions selling tankless water heaters. Guys that that's their industry, or that's like they're specialist in it, because there's a lot of people that it's the right option for you. The tankless water heater may be the right option for you. But I would say, in the past 6 years, 7 years, I've steered more people away from it than I have towards it, because the biggest thing is the maintenance, right? Like where I live in Texas, that heater, it won't last you 10 years without some serious repair fees or maintenance costs, one or the other, no matter what. Like if you just put that heater on the wall and do not touch it, within 5 years, something's gonna fuck up, something big. A lot of times you're gonna spend a lot of money on getting a guy to figure it out, because it may be a company that's not good at it, and they'll send a guy out who's going to take fucking 4 or 5 hours looking at it on the phone with tech support before he figures it out. And it's going to cost you a lot of money, even if they have a cheaper hourly rate. Or it's going to be a company that's damn good at it, and they're going to flat rate everything. And they're going to say, yep, if you want us to troubleshoot it, it's $250. If I got to replace the fan motor, it's $700. If I got to disassemble the vent system and re-lubricate the seals and check it, that's $700. I mean, they'll get it up to $3,000 in repairs in fucking no time. I've seen it. I've been a part of it. And I know the outfit that I was working at right now is charging, I think it was $377 to descale the heater, just to descale. And then I think for a full maintenance where they do the descale, which descaling, what that is you basically just get a big bucket full of vinegar and a pump, and just cycle it through the heater with the heater turned off, through the heat exchanger, to get all the scale buildup out of the heater. So that way that heat exchanger, which the heat exchanger is where the water passes through and gets exposed to the flame to get hot. When you flush it out, you descale it, you're just cycling that vinegar for about an hour or so until it dissolves, a healthy amount of all that scale buildup. Because if not, that thing will clog and it'll be problematic forever. But that's just a descale. That's $377. For the full service, they charge I think it's $600 or $700 now. It's up there. They pull the fan motor off and they clean it and they make sure it's good. They check all the vent connections. They clean the thermistors. They pull the whole face off and blow out and use a shop vac to clean the heat exchanger, make sure everything, not a lot of dust and everything's getting in there. And they just make sure everything's functioning properly. And that's $600-700 a year. So if you had that heater for 20 years, and it will last 20 years if you get it maintenance every year, you're gonna be looking at like 14 grand in maintenance fees, plus like 7 or 8,000 on the install. Because when I was doing them for the high-end residential companies in 2017, that's 7 years ago, we were charging $59.93 for the most common tankless we installed. We had more expensive fuckers than that too, but it was basically 6 grand, and it was a little under 2 grand for a tank style water heater. And now that price difference has actually grown to be even more because you know, there's so much involved with changing a tank style to a tankless. So here's another thing to consider is the install, why it's so expensive. A tank style gas water heater, which by the way, we're kind of only talking gas here, because if you want to go tankless, if you've got electric, don't go tankless. Unless you're talking about like a point of use little bullshit, fucking just for one fixture, like one sink, that's fine. But if you're trying to do like the whole home with electric, just go with a tank. Do not do tankless if you're doing electric. Piss off. And so we're only talking gas. And so these days, I'd only recommend a condensing tankless water heater. Condensing. And those are the ones where it's like 96% efficient. It captures so much heat off the exhaust, only 4% escapes to the roof, so you can use PVC piping. It makes it a lot easier to vent and install it. But a lot of times you have to fuck around with the vents when you put in a tankless water heater. And then the big thing is gas. So like you need a lot more bingo for your bongo if you're doing gas tankless heater, because like a standard water heater uses about 45,000 BTUs per hour, kind of like an average about 45,000 for residential. That tankless water heater uses 199,000 BTUs, so it is 4 times minimum the gas from your standard heater. So you have to upsize your gas line, and sometimes you don't have enough service. You got to get the gas company involved to either get your meter upgraded or your service upgraded to medium pressure. And that's a whole pain in the ass. But once you have that conversion completed, it's not shit to change that tankless heater. So if you're the type of guy that is kind of handy and wants to do the maintenance yourself, it's definitely a good idea. You know, like if you have like a family of 5 and you're running out of hot water all the goddamn time, and you're halfway decent with tools, like I was like, you know, lefty loosey righty tighty type shit, you can, if you get that tankless heater installed professionally and it's done properly, it ain't nothing. It's essentially just a box on the fucking wall, right? A couple unions on the bottom, disconnect the vent. You're out of there, dude. I mean, put the new one up, hook it back up, hook the vent back up, hook the gas back up. Nothing, dude. So, you know, in certain situations, it's the right call. But for a lot of people, like if running out of hot water is an occasional thing, you're not the type that's interested in having a maintenance guy, a repairman come out to your house every year to service it. You're not the type that's going to do it yourself. You don't have the large upfront, because a lot of people are financing this shit, and I just, man, like I didn't enjoy seeing people agree to fucking 60 months of payments for a water heater. You know, I just like, I don't know, that's a personal thing. There's other people that kind of feel, you do you on that, but I feel like if you really can't afford it, don't fucking go with it, man. I mean, get the tank style heater. It's so much cheaper, and it really, like, I'll tell you this, almost no matter what, over the life of the heater, a 20-year period, that tankless heater is probably going to ultimately cost you more, even with the like energy savings. And it, you know, say it lasts you 20 years and you do 2 tank style heaters in that 20 years, probably still going to pay more for the tankless. So that's the real truth of it. There are places where there are people where it's the right option for them. There are applications where a tankless heater would be the best, but there's still a fuckload of where a tank style is going to be better for you, more bang for your buck, you know. So if y'all have questions, I'll answer them in the comment section. Bye.